Hey everyone, last week we did an underrated list of champions that I just hate to play against. Somebody suggested looking at some overrated champions who I hate to play with, so that is what we're going to do today. Basically, these are proper strong champions, played a ton, but whenever they are on my team, it's just kind of like a coin flip, and half the time they make the champion look proper weak instead. Before we jump into pick number one, a big thank you to World of Warships for sponsoring this video. They came to me and let me try the game World of Warships, and it's actually such a good looking game. The graphics are insane. It's a proper mix between action and strategy, so it's perfect for us. It's free to play, and you basically command a massive naval fleet. As you play, you're going to be unlocking new ships. There are actually over 200 ships available to play across 8 different nations. The coolest thing, when I was reading up on all of this, is they actually 3D scan real-life ships, and that is what they base the ships in-game on, so it's hyper-realistic. There's constantly new missions, game updates, and events to play, so there's always exciting new content. Click the link down below to play World of Warships and collect a special bonus starter pack. So new users can register with the code PLAYWARSHIPS2018 to receive 250 doubloons, 1,000,000 credits, HMS Campbelltown premium ship, 1 port slot, and 3 days premium time. Evelynn is the first champion I thought about for this video instantly, but she makes me rage. I always ban her now, not just for the enemy team, but so my team can't play her. There is a big reason why junglers often smurf with her. Like, the damage is just insane, honestly. You have a lot of playmaking, and obviously you're stealth for most of the game. It takes a little bit of creativity to approach fights. Like, you have to obviously charm the right target, getting into their backline to get in range, like stuff like that. So you can't just brute force your way in. Like, yes, you can be really good, but also terrible. You can do absolutely nothing in the game, just running around, not killing anybody. I don't really want to say that your one-shot combo has like no counterplay if you do it properly, but it has pretty much no counterplay, honestly, with the charm. You could also blow your ultimate though. You could not kill them, and then you're going to be screwed. So there are two sides. You're also going to be low health. You've literally no mobility apart from your ultimate. If you use it though to escape or something like that, you have no damage left, and you're probably going to die afterwards if you do get into the fight. You can even get majorly smashed early game just by invades and stuff. If you don't deal with that properly, it's gonna make your life a nightmare. I guess what makes it overrated for me is that if you don't find people alone, if you aren't like very proactive and go looking for them, if you can't combo properly, you're just a walking ward. You basically sit back, you wait for fights to happen, and you aren't gonna do very much. Graves is another jungler starting this video off. Shout out to Foxtrot for making him seem useless whenever we duo. Yes, we're actually brothers, by the way. I'm allowed some banter, okay? But honestly, this guy can become unkillable. He farms well, he gets a few items, and becomes pretty tanky while outputting a ton of damage. So you can't really get close, and you can't fight him. The thing is, he just doesn't gank that well at all. So if your team is struggling, Graves probably can't do that much. I mean, a really good Graves will path well, and it will end up behind them. Use a slow from your smoke screen, dish out the damage, and his ganks actually aren't that bad. But the Graves on our team though, he'll just AFK farm, and he'll flame us all game when we get ganked, so it's probably starting to sound a little bit familiar. I think because he farms so easily and he scales well, it just like encourages you to keep farming. But actually, if you can get ahead, he is so good. Maybe I'm kind of classing this one as overrated because of the playstyle we see a lot of the time in solo queue. On a really good player, he wins more than most junglers, honestly. He's really, really good, but that's not happening on my team. They just pretty much farm, and they don't output as much either. So Morgana is the most banned support at the moment. She blocks like any play you want to make. Seriously, there's nothing you can really do when there's a Morgana on the enemy team. They have pick potential as well. You can go way more aggressive with the black shield than normal. She even has some decent damage, especially early. But whenever I see them on my team, I'm like, okay, here we go again. Binds will fling out backwards. She'll push my lane with her tormented soil for a precious spell thief procs and get us ganked, and then forget to shield. I think that's a big part, to be honest. Like, black shield is great on me as an AD carry at 2 points, really. So when crowd control is about to hit me to block it, obviously that's the obvious part, and the other time is when we're just fighting, so I can keep going nuts and not have to worry about any crowd control, so I can just charge on in. That's not as obvious, and I don't see it very often. I mean, Morgana can be such a good roamer with her bind. Her kill combo is great with ultimate and bind together. It's just, I don't know, you never know what Morgana you're gonna get. The one who plays like a Janna or that one. The combination of being able to make plays and deny plays from the enemy team is a big reason why I think most people hate playing against her and why most of them ban her. It is just like, if you're not going to be binding and using the damage to get kills and get ahead, if you're not going to be smart about the shield or roam, she's just an overrated pick. So I'm not sure if you're going to be thinking I'm crazy here or not. I don't know if Ryze is played a lot for you guys, but at high ranks, there are always people picking him. He's got one of the biggest win rate gaps between like the average solo queue win rate and somebody who actually mains him. He can be insane, like 3-shotting the enemy AD. It hurts a lot. I've had the pleasure of getting spanked by that many times. But whenever I see him on my team, I'm like, please just don't feed. He can be smashed pretty much harder than anybody probably in the lane phase. And if he starts to lose, he'll rack up like 8 deaths easy. It's all combo based, right? It's running into fights to do damage, close up, trying to juke stuff and dish it out. I'm not saying it's easy because it's definitely not, but his worth in solo queue is so overrated until you get to like a proper high rank or if you're a god with it. I can 100% see why pros put such a high priority on him. Every now and again, you'll get a really good one, but he'll normally be glued to mid lane, not roam at all, farming up for his late game spike, and then he's going to want to split push. So not having mid lane priority definitely sucks, like when the enemy mid is basically stronger. Like if he's being pushed all the time, the enemy mid can roam for free. You can't 2v2. It's very hard to take towers or dragons or Rift Herald. Having a stronger mid laner is just so important nowadays, and it makes the game a lot easier. And almost always when I get a Ryze on my team, I get smashed in lane. There is no surprise with Lee Sin here at all. We've all seen the Lee Sins on our team. Gripex makes it look easy, but it isn't. You know, I did flame Foxy earlier for his Graves, but his Lee, when he's feeling it, is sick. I would duo with his Lee any day. His damage is nuts, and I don't think it's that hard to play Lee early to mid game at all. You're gonna win most of your duels. You gank well. It's really good. You smash early. But if only it was that simple, right? I get why he can be good, but I think he's pretty overrated for solo queue. First off, if you can't hit your Q every time, it's like you have no damage left. Unless you're a god, chances are you're gonna miss out on a chunk of your damage in half your ganks when you miss it. It's also because it's kind of tough to close games out and finish them off. I don't think Lee is like overrated in the early game as a ganker, but for actually winning games, that's a little bit different. Unless you control the game well, usually you're kind of methodical about ending and you don't throw the game, they're probably just gonna outscale you. The reason I don't like playing with Lee Sin on my team and I think is overrated is because if they don't have a good early game, they are kind of just a minion for the rest of the game. They can keep people away, they can maybe engage as well, but it's pretty tough really. You just don't have a good late game to fall back on. Ahri is pretty weird to say she's overrated because I always recommend her to mid laners to play and to climb with. I do think she's actually a little bit overrated though. If you get hammered in the lane phase or you don't hit your charms, you're not going to do much. They put a lot of her damage into her charm now, so you really do have to hit it and you need to be more aggressive. All of those changes lend themselves to her getting more damage and then using it, right? But if you sit back and you wait for a fight, chances are you're probably going to be charming a tank or something, and that doesn't really work. Really, you have to ult forward, you have to charm and blow up one of the squishy champions like the enemy mid or AD or support or something on the enemy team. That is what Ahri is really good at now. So Ahri is like an assassin, is really good. Ahri as a sit at the back mage, massively overrated for me. That is what I mean about coin flip for this one. You could get an Ahri who dominates the lane phase, then roams and catches people with a charm all game, and you're going to win. And it'll be pretty easy and it's great. You could also get an Ahri though who gets smashed, gets Zhonya's second item, has no damage at all, doesn't die a lot or anything like that, but just doesn't help you win at all. I'm pretty sure you all knew this one was going to be here in this video. I know most people ban him as well, so their team doesn't even play him. I think everybody feels that. It's a lot like Ryze for me. You have the potential to be nuts, but you can also do absolutely nothing. Most Yasuos, if they lose lane, will die like 10 times probably. Not because they're like hard inting, maybe some of them, but because a champion sucks one behind. You have to get pretty close to farm, right? You need to be able to duel people ready to do that. You haven't got much safety built into your kit or anything like that. That is why I think he's overrated. Very difficult to fully learn, and unless you get ahead early, you aren't really going to be getting that much done for a long time. I think part of it as well is a Yasuo who is ahead is a crazy good thing to have on your team, and if you have setup, it's amazing to wombo. If you take those things away though, it's actually really hard to play with a Yasuo on your team. You have a weak link and no setup to even help him. Split push is always there as well as an option, but 9 times out of 10 they'll push too far and they aren't sure how to do it either. So like, yes, he can be amazing, but I think he's pretty overrated to climb with actually. It can go pretty wrong and I never know what to expect when I get him on my team. Ezreal is the first and only AD carry on this. I don't think many AD carries are overrated, to be honest. Nothing is like that OP right now anyway. Ezreal is still played more than almost any other, and I always kind of like sigh when I get him on my team. Sometimes they can be really good and amazing. Their poke is great. They can snowball well, get items faster than any other AD, which means a bigger mid-game boost. If you get to big team fights though, they don't offer as much if you haven't poked before. Most Ezreals probably don't even auto-attack, honestly. Like, watch them, they'll only Q. If you're accurate and you get ahead, you can get a good item lead and dish it out, but you actually have to be accurate and get ahead, which is not easy. I feel like if I gank or I get a Kaiser ahead or something, I can most of the time at least expect them to do some damage. With an Ezreal, I never know what I'm gonna get. Some as well are so aggressive in the lane phase, which is really good. You use auto attacks to CS and Q to poke, which is perfect. Others just sit back and farm with Q, which doesn't really do that much. I do think if you're a god, Ezreal is likely one of the best AD carries to climb with, but for the average player, he is so overrated. Yes, he is safe, safe, but you don't always carry that hard, which is bad for this role. I mean, obviously it's AD carry for a reason, right? You actually have to carry. Rakan, in my eyes, is actually one of the best supports to have on your team if they are good. The problem is it's not going to happen very often. That is a very big if. Their engage is insane, and it's why their teamfight win rate is so high at that stage of the game. You can win fights with it, honestly. Like, just engage and pull everybody together. The problem is he is so overrated early to mid game, where a lot of games are now decided actually in Season 8. You have a bit of poke and a heal, which is great, but it's not difficult to flash or dodge his W and turn it around, leaving him with pretty much nothing. When you do have your ultimate, it is great, but only if you pull the trigger first. It's so hit and miss with the players. Like, it's not a sit back and chill kind of champion, if that makes sense. You can use your ultimate to protect if you want to, but it's nowhere near as good as if you can use it to catch and engage fights for your team. This one is a bit more about the player and the playstyle, I think. A lot of Rakans force fights in the lane phase that they just can't win, and others will reach their peak in the game and just not engage. So if you engage, you're aggressive and you're roaming Rakan, like, that's great. If you sit back, you're defensive, that kind of Rakan, it's massively overrated. So finally then, Tryndamere is a nightmare in general. They're either really, really good or just useless. I don't get it. I do get why people want to play him though. If he gets ahead, then you've just got a right-click machine who can go to town on everybody and everything. Also, this influx of Ignite now in lane phase means with a lucky crit, he stands a good chance to get a lead and then just start kind of rolling over the game. It seems like the RNG gods are not smiling on my top laners though, that is for sure. I guess they can either just kind of win the game for you or they can lose it, and you never know which one of those two you're actually going to get. Unless you get real far ahead in the lane phase, I think he's pretty overrated as a pick, and I just don't like playing with a coin flip top laner who I know will not be useful if he gets behind and won't be helping me much either. So those are my top 10 overrated champions at the moment. Who else would you put in here though if it was up to you? If you haven't seen the underrated video, I will link that down below so you can check it out. Those are the ones that I hate playing against. But thank you for watching, and as always, I will leave you with the robots.